Okay, I've got this upside down now on the bench. I'll just try and move it. Hang on, I've got the ruler holding it out there, so we'll bring it around this way a little bit. You may see a little bit more, hopefully, eh? So, we've just lifted the top cover off. Now, this is a draft spring here, so when an implement grabs into a stump or something on a plough, it naturally wants to force the top link forward. So it pushes against this spring, and see these links here, that moves this fork, and your control valve sits in the top there. So that's just how it works. This lever here, it's just on an eccentric. So we're in the raised position now. So when we push the lever forward, you can see the levers here come down. That's where that little alloy block bolts in, and your control valve on your pump's there. So you push it down, it lets the oil out. You bring it back, it raises it. So you can see, depending on where this pivot is here, when this gets pushed, you can, mine's just sloppy, but normally there should be no movement here. When it gets pushed, that moves your control valve in and out, and that's how your draft works. It just works on this spring. So the tension against this spring pushes on these forks on each side here, and away you go. So I might just pull the donkey deck out here, actually push rod. We've called them donkey dicks for years, but anyway, I don't know why we call them that. If that can come out of there nicely. We'll take that pin out of the way. And you can see that fork better there now. And you can see the cam in there in all the rust. Down, up. This spring on the cylinder here holds this back, you can see that spring there, it holds tension against the quadrant here. So without that spring there, the quadrant would just slop around. It wouldn't be pulled back against this roller here. So what I might do is I'll just pop this quadrant out. Now where this quadrant comes out, there is adjustments there, as in you can slide the quadrant forward and back to get the position you need for this control valve here. So I'll just see if I can loosen all this off. Just as a way of explaining things, really. That's all the videos are for, so you can have a go on your own, and hopefully it helps in some way anyway. So we'll see. We might put, there's a thing called a Fergie positioner for position control. I have one tucked away. We may put that on this tractor because I've never played with one before, so I don't know how it goes. One bolt. Always do the hard to get at ones first, and the easy ones will help. We've got to pull this apart. This rubber here, there should be a cork in there that adjusts the tension of this lever, so when you're driving along it doesn't just slop down. They often get seized in here, and this often breaks, but we do have these as a spare part. And look, I can't even get my little nut gun in here. What's the world coming to? So we'll try and just show you how this works if I can. She's pretty shitty in through here. We've got a little bit of work to do. Sparex have given us a new cylinder for it. and I'm expecting that there's an O-ring under this cylinder. I'm just not sure. Okay, so this is the quadrant. So the quadrant can come out on the tractor. So with your tractor there, you can just pull this quadrant out. Now, you can see the eccentric there. Here's your round shaft, there's your eccentric. So if we turn, you can see that moving. And this piece here, this shiny piece, the only shiny bit on the rusty looking thing, it rubs against the back on that rubbing surface there on this arm. And so depending on where your lever goes, that's what makes it move like that. So what we might do is undo this spring here. And you can see that slopping around now. So if that spring is broken, or you find a spring in the bottom, you can see you're not going to have an awful lot happening down the bottom there, are you? It's just not going to work. So this pivot here holds tension against the valve, but if it gets forced or gets stuck or something, it gives it a chance for that to move independently. So what are we going to do next? I'll put this lever down out of our way for the moment. And I might get the nut gun. And I'll undo these bolts. Oh, here I am kicking you. I'll be up for a bloody domestic violence shortly. So, yeah, these 4 nuts I told you about not undoing before, now's the time. There we go, there's 1, 2, 3. Come out of there. Oh bugger it, stay there. 4. Okay, so we'll put those nuts across with the other. The shed's starting to creak for the day. Sometimes we have to stop filming because of that. And there your square-headed bolts. Look for any stretch along those bolts. You know, if it comes along at say 3/8 and it dips down just here somewhere, you know they're stretched. Chuck them away. Not a problem you should have often, I don't think. Okay, there are your 4 bolts holding the cylinder on. There we go, that should come out. And the later housings have an O-ring here. Now, as with the hydraulic pump kits, just about all of your aftermarket suppliers do not supply this O-ring. Now, I'm pretty sure that's the same O-ring that goes into the hydraulic pump, Sparex number S1932. It's 1316, and the early ones just have a gasket going across here. And if you have a later housing with the check valves and all in it, and you just put that gasket across there, it's not going to last you long. It's just not going to work. So this is how the oil gets into your cylinder, in through this drilling here. It goes up to the head of the cylinder and pushes the piston out. Now, the oil comes from your hydraulic pump up here, so it comes up through the housing to this hole here, goes past this here and shoots across there. Now this here, that's just a test port. This other one's a relief, I believe. Is that drilling going all the way through? I think it is. We'll check that out. I'll have a look at my book and make sure I'm telling you the truth about all that. Okay, let's grab the air line, run it across the front of the camera, and we just want to pop a little bit of air in here gently. There we go. So there's our piston. Now, a couple of grooves lined up there, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. A bit of dirt in there too. Oh, lovely. You want to turn? Now, the reason TE20 hydraulics leak down when you put your foot on the clutch or you stop the tractor are these rings. Now, even though these rings in the bore are closed up quite tight, oil will still come down here, through that one and go down. So as these rings get worn, and these are quite sharp on the edge, so I suppose they're worn, as they get more and more worn, that gap opens up. So even if you have a good hydraulic pump, if you have worn piston rings on your piston here, your hydraulics are going to go down. When you put these back in, if you're using these, it's like on a car, put them opposite each other so the oil's got the furthest way to travel to come around. That'll help. But another thing that can affect you is scoring down in here. And look, there's a bit of scoring down in there. You can run a car type cylinder hone up through here. It's 2.5 inch, and if you can take a lot of the humps and hollers and the particularly high sections off, you can go all right. Now, what I like to do is I replace the piston, and look, this is just an absolute great fix. Sparex don't seem to have them for the moment. These ones here I get out of Steiner in America, ABC 314. And the piston is out of a Ford, does it say on there? No, it says made in Turkey. Bloody Turkey fitting it too, probably. But anyway, but what I like to do is get rid of that, is put the Ford piston in. It's the exact same bore size, but instead of having the oil come down around the ring and leak, you fit an O-ring and a backup washer in here. Now, the kit for the lift cover on all these tractors that you buy out of Sparex, they're the kit that was made in the States, so they all have that O-ring in anyway. So you'll find when you're doing your hydraulics up, you're buggering around with it and you end up with a big O-ring and a backup left. It's because the kit is made to do the TE20s and the 8N, 9N type Ford tractors. So I almost always chuck this piston away, put one of these in. It's just a great fix, it really is. And the hydraulics, I can actually make a TE20 arms stay up. If you have a good control valve in there, and the control valve's trapping the oil up in the cylinder here, and nothing's leaking up here as in O-rings and all that, I can have a TE20 arms stay up. That is the fix. So it's a great fix, it works really well. When we put this together, we will be fitting it. Just to show you, there's the piston in the old cylinder if you're using the old cylinder still, so there's no worries there. I don't know what this is like. We'll give that a big wash up and worry about that then. But if your hydraulics, if you've done your hydraulics up and they're still leaking down, it can be this piston. Even with new rings and a couple of little score marks down the bore here of your lift cylinder, you have a built-in problem. So that's my fix. That's what I like to do. I have people rattling my chain saying no need to do it, and last time I showed this, I got in bloody trouble. And there's a few old blokes, and what they were saying is that that Massey Ferguson knows what they do, and they did this, and that allows oil down the cylinder to lubricate the bore, so it has less wear. Well, I don't know. I think it's probably crap. This piston here, you have oil this side, you have the O-ring and back up there. and you have oil from your gearbox and diff flinging around up the back here. So I think it's bullshit. It's just a good fix. It's been working on the Ford tractors for years, and the Ford tractors didn't have this problem. So anyway, that's my point of view. If you don't like it, send me a message. I'll read it. I won't change my ways, but I'll read it and have a comment. But just because I'm doing it this way doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. It's just how I choose to do it. So the next thing we probably should look at is getting all this mess out. Now, this tractor, with that being rusted there, and that I very much doubt I'll be able to turn this at all. And in the past, I just hop in there with my grinder, just go zinc straight down through there, cut the thread off. It is the quickest and easiest way of doing it. I'll try and put this back down a little. Oh, there we go. That looks a bit safer, doesn't it? So if I put a bit of a bar in here, where are we? I've got a big screwdriver over here. Stop looking, I found one. And try and... What's that turning? Just call me Arsey Lance, will you? I'll just shift this camera so you can have a better view of what I'm doing. Don't call me cameraman Lance, I'm pretty shit at that bit. But anyway, that's all right. We don't bloody mind. I think I'll pull this pin out. This yoke here has a thread in it, and I think mine's turning. It bloody is. I better stop filming and go and get a lotto ticket. Oh, put that up there just to... You would not believe this. I reckon this is probably the first one I've ever unscrewed. Now, you must be able to screw these up to set your draft adjustment. You know, take the movement out of your spring here. But I probably should. God, I've got a messy bench. Oh, there you go. Oh, even that's loose. I'm just loving this. Unbelievable. You can tell I'm bloody pleased about this. Every other one I've done I've had to cut out, so I was expecting to do the same. Bingo. Now, that's our draft spring. Now this little sleeve's broken. So that sleeve sits up there. They're available at Queensland Tractor Spares. I have them available. They're no worries. Now there's a felt. Oh, the felt's never much of an idea, I don't reckon. But anyway, that's just me. Now, there's a bit of a trap for these things, and it's another one to do with our aftermarket's parts. Now, you can see this has a bit of a bend in it there, and that probably happened when this this bell crank there broke. Now, and it pisses me off no end that some of the aftermarket ones of these have a different thread on them. So like my shaft here is bent, so if you looked at just replacing that, you may not be able to without replacing the end bit here, because whoever is getting the parts made overseas, and it's not a Sparex problem, it's a I know it's a quality tractor parts problem, but it's not them, it's their suppliers, and in reality they probably all shop at the same place, so one company will be no better than the other in my opinion, probably. But yeah, sometimes you just want to replace this or you just want to replace that, and they've gone metric on the bloody threads, so it just drives you nuts. So anyway, I'm having a good whinge today, but yeah, look, that's lovely. That's the first one of them in bloody years I've actually got off. This tractor come from out Western Queensland, so I'm presuming that's what's helping us along the way. So, okay. Lucky I stood all that up over there really, isn't it? Now, where's my socket? We'll undo these blokes here on the dust seal. Now this is just a tin. There's a plate under there, wherever it is. Yeah, so there's a steel plate, it's a guide, and it stops this fella here, helps stop this from pulling right through. And this fella here, once you get him up there, you can pull that out. So, to my knowledge, you can't buy any of this, but you can buy this rod here and the spring and all from the back there. So now this section here, that little wear pad there, that's where our lever rubs against, and so it pushes against that housing there. So all this needs a big clean up, but that's okay. We knew that, didn't we? So that there, like they're just normal pins there. Even if you're not pulling these little split pins out, consider replacing them. There was a thing on Facebook the other day and a bloke had one of these pins floating around the bottom of his tractor. So even if you're not replacing them, consider pulling them out and having a good look and replacing them. That looks good on mine. And like I said, that's the hole in the side there that takes that alloy housing. So I'll put that over out of the way so I can give it a parts wash later. Oh, now the fun bit. Now, can we see how much movement's here? Now, the sad part about some of this is that this shaft gets quite worn. Companies are doing the bushes. I'm not aware at the moment of a shaft, I don't think. I will have a look and see, but I don't think there is one. You can take a hydraulic oil supply out of here too if you like. It's the same as doing it on the bottom of the hydraulic pump if you want your plumbing up high and nice and tidy. I've got to look into this check valve. I just can't remember the story with that to tell you off the top of my head. Now I'll get a hammer. And we'll undo a couple of lock tabs. Now these arms can be on any side, it doesn't matter. A bit tight, wasn't it? What are our chances of getting that off? I might have to use some of my swear words on that one. We'll put a bit of possum pea on just to help. Phew, pardon me. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, moving right along. Let's have a look at this one. Now I'll just undo the lock tabs. What's in there? The bolt. Who left that there? Okay, and this one's flush. And put a bit of possum pea. I think it works better than porcupine pea. Maybe. Hey, look at that. I'll stand up and I'm just going to get fair bloody dinkum here. There you go, none of that tappy tap bullshit. You've got to hop in and have a go. Okay. I wonder, should we? I'll go and get one of my big knockometers because this one looks tighter. It's coming too. By Christ, I'm a lucky lad. What's my old saying? One hit's worth 40 taps. I'm not sure whether that's metric taps or not. Look at that. That'll do it for the price. Okay. That's slopping around like a bloody cock in a sock, isn't it? Let's see. That's feeling solid. Put a couple of bolts in here, doesn't matter if we wreck the bolts. I think there's a bush hanging out in here. clean that. I might give that a soak for a bit, and I can pop this up in the press and press down through if I need to. I've got a 50-ton press, so I'm hoping this is just jarring the splines, hopefully loosening them a little. So the hard part will be in here. Now, I think I'll refer to the book in case this only goes one way. I can't remember that. So we'll might just leave that for a moment. Now you have a relief valve in the housing here. Now that would probably be a surge relief. I'm just not 100% sure. I'll find out, because where the oil comes in through here, your oil comes up, goes across, comes out here to the cylinder, and this is over there further. So I'm presuming they're using this as a surge relief valve. So if you're driving along and your plough just hits a bump and bang, bang, so it doesn't stress the bolts and pop the O-ring and do that, it'll bleed a little bit of oil down here that you can replace again. So I'll check that out. I can't recall what it's, I think that's what it's about. Because your system still has a relief valve down the bottom end. Now what I will look at, and so that's your relief valve on your pump left over from the pump. So the pump has a relief valve, but then this up here I'm calling a surge relief valve. But I'll check that out and I'll let you know for sure, right? Okay, here you go. I got it out. I actually put the housing up in the press. I have a 50-ton press and I just pressed it out. It was tight. Now it's got some nice brass bushes through here. I didn't think they were brass, but anyway, they may have been done at some stage. That's your push rod. Now that's master spline, so it can only go in one way. There's a master spline on the end of the shaft for the lift arms as well. So we got that out. I went and had a quick look at the book before I finished the video, and this fella here, it says after serial number 300 and something or other thousand, they did away with the relief valve on the pump, and they bought this as a surge relief valve. And well, I'm not sure they've done away completely with that, but this adjustment here could be adjusted by shims, and you can see that shim there. That's got a couple of different size shims in, so someone's put one in at one stage. One shim will adjust your lift pressure to around 100 pound, or make an adjustment of around 100 pound. So if we, oh, that feels like it's a bit stuck in there. So you've got to keep all the washers from that. Here we go. Okay, so there's the valve retainer. There should be a little ball up in there. A little poppet. There's way the buggery up in here, So that is shim adjustable. We'll go through that when we set it all up again. We'll run through and we'll set all that up, and we'll make a couple of adjustments here and just see how we go and how we do it. So that's it. That's where we're going to end the video. That's pulling the lift cover apart. As you can see, I've got a little bit of work ahead of me. Cleaning everything up, cleaning the bench up, cleaning the shafts up, and getting organised. I know I'm waiting on bushes to come. And the sad part is a lot of these shafts here, they get rusty out here, and I don't know where to buy a new shaft. I can buy them for the 100 series tractors and all that. I'll have another look though, just in case I'm missing something and something's changed, but In the past you couldn't find these shafts anywhere, and you can put new bushes in and things like that, and sometimes I'll push this bush in a bit further or machine a bit off and put an O-ring in here to keep the dirt out, but it's only sealing up here, so it doesn't make much difference really. So there you go, that's stripping it. I got a bit of work to do. We'll catch you next video.